Hey everyone, it's Leonard here. I need to stop what I am doing and talk to you about something that happened in my practice 31 years ago. Something I have thought about almost every single night since. Not because it was the most dramatic case I ever saw. Not because it was the most medically complex, but because it was the most preventable death I ever witnessed. And because the cause, the thing that killed a perfectly healthy 61-year-old man, was something he did every single night without a second thought. Something you might be doing tonight. Something that, depending on how your body is built and what is quietly happening inside your arteries while you sleep, could be quietly, steadily raising your risk of having a stroke before morning comes. I will tell you his name in a moment. First, I need you to understand something about sleep that your doctor has almost certainly never said out loud to you. Because most doctors do not bring this up. Not because it is not important. Because there is simply no time in a 15-minute appointment to say, by the way, how do you sleep? And so people like my patient, good, ordinary people who had no idea anything was wrong, go home, lie down in the exact position they have slept in for 40 years, and sometimes they do not get up. His name was Raymond Kowalski. He was 61 years old. He had been a high school chemistry teacher for 35 years. He collected model trains. He had a wife named Dorota, everyone called her Dot, and two grown daughters, who both lived within 20 minutes of his house. He came in for a routine physical. Blood pressure a little high, nothing that alarmed anyone. Cholesterol slightly elevated. I put him on a low dose of medication, told him to cut back on the salt, suggested he walk 30 minutes a day. He shook my hand, laughed and said, "Doc, I feel fine. I always feel fine." I told him that was the problem. He came back 6 months later for a follow-up. Everything looked stable. His blood pressure was cooperating. He had lost 7 pounds. He was walking every morning at 6 a.m. before school. He was doing everything right. 2 weeks after that appointment, his wife Dot called my office. Raymond had not gotten up that morning. She thought he was sleeping in. She let him rest. She made coffee. She read the paper. She waited. At 8:15, she went to check on him, and he was lying in the exact position she had left him in 6 hours earlier. His eyes were partly open. He was breathing, but he could not speak. He could not move his right side. He was looking at her with an expression she described to me on the phone, and I am going to remember this for the rest of my life. She said, "He looked like he was trying to apologize." Raymond had suffered a massive ischemic stroke sometime during the night, silent, while he slept. He spent 4 months in rehabilitation. He never taught another class. He never spoke clearly again. His younger daughter got married the following spring, and he watched from a wheelchair in the front row and could not deliver the speech he had been writing for her since she was 13 years old. He died 18 months after the stroke. Complications. His heart had been weakened. He developed pneumonia. He was 63 years old. I have to be honest with you. For a long time, I carried the weight of Raymond's case as a diagnostic failure. What had I missed? What should I have caught? What additional testing should I have ordered? But as I went deeper into the research on stroke risk factors, sleep position, and vascular health in middle-aged men, I started to understand something that nobody had really put together clearly yet. The way Raymond slept may have contributed to what happened to him. Let me explain what I mean, and I want to be very careful here, because I am not going to tell you that sleeping on your right side will definitely cause a stroke. That is not what the science says. What the science says is more nuanced and more frightening in its own quiet way. Raymond slept exclusively on his right side. He had done so his entire adult life. He told me this himself at his first appointment when I asked about his sleep. "Right side, every night, never changes," he said. I wrote it in his chart and moved on. I did not know then what I know now. Here is what happens in the body when you sleep on your right side, particularly if you are someone whose cardiovascular system is already under strain. The heart, which sits slightly left of center in the chest, shifts its position when you lie on your right side. For most people, most of the time, this is not a problem, but for people with certain heart conditions, slightly enlarged heart muscle, or compromised blood flow, This positional shift can affect how efficiently the heart pumps blood and how well it drains fluid during the night. More critically, and this is the part I want you to hear, sleeping on your right side has been associated in several studies with a higher incidence of sleep apnea events and reduced lymphatic drainage from the brain. Now, sleep apnea is not just snoring. It is a condition where your airway partially or fully collapses during sleep, causing repeated interruptions in breathing. Each one of those interruptions causes a spike in blood pressure. Each spike stresses the walls of your blood vessels. Over months, over years, over decades of nightly right-side sleeping with undiagnosed apnea, those vessel walls can be damaged. And a damaged, stressed vessel wall in the brain is the architecture of a stroke. Raymond snored. Dot had mentioned it to me once. He sounds like a freight train. And I had given the standard advice. Lose weight. Avoid alcohol before bed. Sleep on your side instead of your back. Sleep on your side. I told him to sleep on his side. I did not say which side. I did not know at the time that it mattered. He went home and slept on his right side, the same side he had always slept on, and his brain, night after night, was not draining as efficiently as it should have been. The lymphatic vessels in the brain, the glymphatic system, we call it now, though we barely understood it when Raymond was my patient, these vessels are most active during sleep, flushing out toxic proteins and metabolic waste. Studies now suggest this drainage is most efficient when we sleep on the left side. When we sleep on the right side, that drainage slows, proteins accumulate, inflammation builds. In a brain already stressed by years of elevated blood pressure and repeated oxygen drops from apnea, the conditions are there. I am not telling you Raymond's stroke was entirely caused by his sleeping position. Medicine is never that simple, but I am telling you that his sleeping position was a piece of a puzzle that nobody looked at, including me. And I think about what might have happened if I had asked one different question. If I had said to him, Raymond, when you sleep on your side, which side? What if that conversation had happened? I cannot know, but I think about it. I am 78 years old now. I practiced internal medicine for 44 years. I have seen more preventable deaths than I can count. I have made peace with most of them. Not comfortably, never comfortably. But I have filed them in the part of my memory where you keep the things you cannot change. Raymond is not filed anywhere. Raymond stays on the surface. Now I want to talk to you directly. Not about Raymond, about you. If you are watching this video, there is a good chance you are over the age of 55. There is a good chance your blood pressure is not perfect. There is a good chance you have been told your cholesterol is a little high, or you have a family history of stroke, or you snore and nobody has ever taken it seriously. There is a good chance you have a sleeping position you have been in for 30 or 40 years, and you have never once thought about whether it was hurting you. I am asking you to think about it now. Sleeping on your left side has shown benefits for cardiovascular health that are measurable and real. When you sleep on your left side, your heart has less positional strain. The aorta, the largest artery in the body, runs down the left side of the spine, and sleeping on the left means gravity assists rather than resists its function. The glymphatic system drains more efficiently. People with acid reflux do better on the left side. Pregnant women are told to sleep on their left side because it improves blood flow to the fetus, and what improves blood flow to a growing baby is worth thinking about for your aging brain. I am not telling you to throw away your pillow and never sleep comfortably again. I am telling you to be aware. I am telling you that if you have any of the risk factors, high blood pressure, elevated cholesterol, diabetes, a history of smoking, a family history of stroke, or if anyone has ever told you that you stop breathing in your sleep, you should talk to your doctor about sleep position. You should ask about being tested for sleep apnea, because sleep apnea in older adults is dramatically undertreated. People think it is just snoring. It is not just snoring. Undiagnosed sleep apnea in a 65-year-old with high blood pressure is like running a garden hose through a crimped pipe every night for years and wondering why the pipe eventually bursts. And here is the thing about stroke that terrifies me more than almost any other condition I treated in 44 years. Strokes happen fast and they happen silently. Raymond did not feel a stroke coming. He did not wake up with a headache and call for help. He went to sleep fine and woke up, if you can call it that, unable to speak to his wife. The window for treatment is narrow. The damage accumulates in hours. And the most dangerous stroke risk factors are the ones that build slowly and quietly while you go about your life, eating your dinner, walking your 30 minutes, thinking you are doing everything right. Raymond thought he was doing everything right. I thought he was doing everything right. Now here is what I want you to do after this video ends. And I am asking you as someone who has sat with too many families in too many waiting rooms delivering news that came too late. Please do not go to bed tonight without asking yourself one question. Do you or does someone you love snore heavily or seem to stop breathing during sleep? If the answer is yes, please call your doctor tomorrow, not next week. Tomorrow. Ask about a sleep study. Ask about your stroke risk. Ask specifically about sleeping position if you are on blood thinners or have cardiovascular concerns. And if you can, just try the left side tonight. I know it feels unnatural if you have been on the right your whole life. Put a pillow behind your back so you do not roll over. Give it a week. Your brain drains better, your heart works easier, and you give yourself a little more margin. And margin is everything when it comes to what happens to us while we sleep. Dot still sends me a Christmas card every year. She moved to a smaller house after Raymond passed. She goes to church on Sunday mornings, the same church they attended together for 30 years. She signs the card with her name, and then, underneath it, she always writes the same 4 words. He would have listened. I think about Raymond every time I go to sleep. I always will. And now, in whatever time I have left, the least I can do is make sure you know what I know. Please, take care of yourself tonight.